People are always saying things like, my family is so weird, or I can't stand my family. However, what my family has gone through lately has been really horrible, especially for me. I'm your typical 17-year-old high school student. I have friends at school and we hang out together on the weekends. Sometimes they would come over to my house and we would just talk, laugh, and play video games. You know, just the stuff that all kids do. Let me tell you a little bit about my family. I grew up in a house that seemed to be pretty happy and normal. Our house wasn't big or fancy because we didn't have a lot of money. That created stress because sometimes my parents would fight about it. If I wanted a new pair of shoes, I would sometimes have to wait a little longer. My parents wanted to see if they would go on sale first so they could save money. Part of the reason my friends would come to my house was really because I didn't have any money to go to the movie or the mall. I also have an older brother, Nick, and he already finished high school and works. That helps a little because he lives at home and gives my parents some of the money he makes. He and I share a bedroom, which I actually enjoy because I love my brother very much. He's kind and funny, and I really look up to him. We also have a younger brother, Stevie. He was born about 2 years ago when my mom was 45. That came as quite a surprise to all of us. In fact, my brother and I called him the Oops Baby, but we all love him so much. I never really wanted a little brother, but it's really great. He's cute and playful, and I can teach him all the things that Nick taught me. That's a cool feeling to be able to help raise another human being. The only unusual thing about Stevie is that he really doesn't look like the rest of us. My brother and I are dark-complected with black hair. We are both fairly tall and thin also. My dad looks the same way. When people see us, they always say, "We can tell you are related. You all look alike." No one says that about Stevie, though. That's where the problem started. When Stevie was born, Nick and I said, "He doesn't look anything like us." My mom said, "Just give it time. Babies change a lot as they grow up." She said sometimes their eyes will change color and so will their hair. Since Stevie had blue eyes and blonde hair, he would have to change a great deal if he was going to look like us when he grew up. Nick and I didn't care because we loved that little guy so much and he really loved us. When we would walk into the room, he would just squeal. When he learned to talk, he started saying our names. He could say Nick pretty good, but when he said my name, it sounded like Wiki. I thought it was pretty sweet. Now let me tell you a little more about my mom and dad. My dad worked really long hours at his job and would always try and get some overtime to make more money. That meant that he was gone from home more than he liked. It wasn't unusual for him to leave the house at 7 in the morning and not get home until 10 at night. When he did get home, he would be tired and sometimes kind of grumpy, but he was worn out. Mom was a stay-at-home mom. She would take care of us and clean the house, do the shopping, and make dinner every night. Before Stevie was born, I thought she started getting a little bored because Nick and I were gone to school all day and Dad was at work. I sometimes wondered what she did all day, by herself. The year that she got pregnant, we were all very surprised, especially my dad. Of course, he was even more worried about how they were going to support another baby, but they seemed pretty happy about it. After Stevie was born, we were all thrilled, especially Mom, because now she had someone to take care of all day. It was a wonderful time. Money was a little tighter now, but we didn't really care because now we had our little Stevie. About a month ago, I came home from school and my dad was already home. That was strange because he was never home that early. The second I walked into the house, I knew something was wrong. The air had an electricity to it. I was immediately worried and I didn't even know why. Nobody was in the kitchen, but I could hear my dad's voice from their bedroom. Stevie was in the living room playing with some of his toys. As I got closer to my parents' bedroom, I could hear my mom crying. What's going on? I thought. Then I heard my dad yelling at her. I could tell he was really mad. I had never heard him yell like that before. Since I didn't want Dad to scare Stevie, I picked him up and took him outside into the yard to play. Even out there I could still hear my dad. I heard a few words like divorce and how could you do this to me? Finally, he came storming out of the door and jumped in his truck without even speaking to us. Then he backed out and drove away really fast. I turned to look to the door and my mom was standing there crying like crazy. I ran to her and asked, "What's going on? My dad was yelling at you and why are you crying?" Mom said, "Not here. Get your brother and bring him inside." I got Stevie and brought him in the kitchen. I got him a snack and some toys and went into the living room with Mom. I sat silently and waited for her to speak, and finally she did. "Your father thinks that Stevie is not his child because he looks so different. Some guys at work were testing him about it and told him that I probably had an affair while he was working. They got him all worked up, and he came home and started screaming at me, saying he was going to divorce me, and then took off. I didn't even get a chance to defend myself. He was out of his mind. I hated that I had to do this, but I had to ask, is it true? Is Stevie Dad's son?